Alright, I don't know where to begin on this, so I guess the best place is to just make it so I can see where to begin, and that would be removing this. Okay, I accidentally deleted the footage of me removing this front bumper, so I'm going to, when I'm putting it on, I'm going to actually show you what I did to remove it. So if it looks like it's already painted and really nice looking, that's why. So, but I wanted to have it in the proper order and not have to jump ahead. So and then the next is I'm going to take this off because, yeah, obviously this has seen better days. I think that's just going to be that bolt, and I think there's one on each side here attaching to this bracket, and then this one. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, I hope. And then I'll make sure all my bulbs are up to date, new ones. You know, one thing I've thought about was putting bright LEDs in these, and then I could not use the headlights, the pop-ups, in regular low lighting situations or just regular driving. So these are 10 millimeter. Oh. There it goes. There we go. Oh, it's turning. Well, how the hell do I end up? Hold on, Jesus Christ. No, I'm going to take this one out next. Alright, instead I'm going to take these brackets off so that looks like here, and then I think we're fine all the way down to here. So I'm going to do that. I hope I don't regret it. What's this side got? There's stuff attached to it. That one's got stuff going through it. Just want to get the bumper off. Alright, that's what I'm doing. Okay. So, even though I have this off, these little guys bolted to the fender. So, I'm hoping removing these will get that loose. I'm just going to take this out anyway, so I think it'll help. Yeah, definitely it'll help get that out. Plus, I'm going to replace these. Ugh. But yeah, I wanted to be able to bring this down. Okay. Got movement in the bumper. Keep an eye out for these, because they just come out. Well, actually this one's stuck on good, but the other one just fell out. Where it fell out to, oh yeah, it's over there. So, don't want to lose where those go. I pulled this out, the bumper out a little bit. These lines are still going through that, those holes in the bumper. But with it being pulled out, I can get my wrench in there. Hi.
Can I seal the driveway?
Yeah.
Gotta change the oil.
it's attached. Alright, so.
Oh, nice. Thanks for having that up.
Yeah.
Can you hold the funnel up? So it doesn't make...
He still looks like the Reatta, or I should say the Reatta looks like him.
You can't...
They both have that same, oh. It's like I've ruined the look of the Reatta because I attribute it to our cat.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Okay. What do we have? So
You can just leave all that on there, sand and paint.
all right. So to remove this bumper, not these, because we already know those are just for support. I think these are just the bolts I need to take off. So after I got those 4 bolts out, all I had to do was pull the bumper. There were these shims. There's 4 on this side and 3 on this side, unless there's one floating around somewhere. Pretty sure it had some on this side. I didn't even know to look for them until I took it out. So I guess I'll probably have to play around with it once I start putting the bumper back. So I don't see any sort of damage or anything. The only thing I have to do yet is work this screw out. So I'm gonna need to pull those out and see if I can either get some replacements. Otherwise, I'm sure I can just drill those out. Just make some, put a bolt in there, but if I can get replacements, that'd be easier. So these things are plastic studs, and these are metal nuts, and you definitely want to PB blaster them and let them sit, because otherwise you could break one. I only broke the one. I think I'm okay otherwise. But if they stick and they break, not sure there's much you can do. But yeah, once you PB blaster them, let them sit, they sew pretty quick, and that seems to work. Alright, well, I got the bumper off on the front and the rear. Hold the
bump or rub strips. Those little black trim pieces in the middle. Got those off. That back piece off. I've got this. It looks like I'll have to do a little bit of repair. Probably some JB weld. I still have the pieces that were there that really screw into it. Not really sure how this is painted. I do have to make sure that the black stays black and the silver gets silver. I could just make sure. I don't know. I guess I'll just mask it off. It'll take quite a bit, I think. Decided not to take this piece off because it actually looks really clean. I'd only have these little spots here, which this, and then over here, which I can touch up, I think. It looks pretty good. I'm not gonna mess with that. Actually, what I can do, I'm just curious, I'm gonna put a little bit of this on the hidden part of the bumper. There, put some right there, see what happens. Enjoy that. Oh. How you doing? There's sun. They're right there. Seems to come off here. Things here around this. Alright, so for today I'm done. I decided to just focus on one strip, one piece at a time. I just washed it off just to make sure I didn't leave any residue on for in case somebody touched it or something and came by. And I did one coat of this one, and one thing I noticed is it looks like there's some silver paint under there, so I'm guessing this strip was not the original one. So tomorrow, these ends are really hard to get clear for some reason. Maybe it's because they're not getting the full force of the weathering. Tomorrow, yeah, finish up the black strips and then focus on each bumper and that valence piece or whatever that is. I moved over from there into the bright sunlight, into the shade, into my neighbor's backyard, and I'm doing the bottom half of this bumper strip here, doing just a little bit at a time because it is so hot and I don't want it to dry. So that's part I got on first application for this. I have Scotch-Brite Gray. This is the one you want to get for sanding this down. It's like, that's the one that's suggested, and it doesn't scuff. I think you can go white and then red. Below this might be the blue. I will actually work the brush, it's taking off that powder layer black paint, and then get onto the silver, which is easier to, then it starts bubbling up. There we go. Come on here, see what I'm up against. Get this way. No, that's it. Oh my gosh, just run brush back and forth. And it. Let's help. Man, notice the view. Or pull the since then, forward. This is not very nice. You just come over right too. Oh yeah, that's nice. Away from one. This gray really won't affect the bumper, at least not mine. I'm going to change it a bit. Wiping it, when it dries, it just comes right off. And if you have like a lot of like the residue on here that seems sticky, you just put a thin layer. So, put a thin layer of the remover on it, wipe it off. This stuff a little thinner. Let me scuff this up enough, maybe the remover will get in there next time and lift it up properly. Here's front bumper. I have it mostly stripped. Last bit of stuff is soaking, and one thing I did do was actually use the green scrubby on this because I mean it's pretty beat up and chewed up anyway. And, only on the front here, on the side I'll just continue to use the gray. But what I found was working really well, and I don't have gloves on, so I'm not going to do it. But while there's a bunch of it on there, taking the greens or the gray scrubby and going over it, and that helps take it off pretty easy. Here's the 2 bumper strips. Those cleaned up pretty good. I think I need to go over with some, I think 320 grit maybe, and get those prepped. I think my neighbor, hopefully she'll let me use her garage. It's empty and she disappears for most of the summer, so. And then this one's next. I'm not going to worry about this stuff up here. If this strips out, it's a lot harder to strip this anyway because it was protected from the elements, so it doesn't strip out all that well, which is fine as long as I can get up past that line. I did take these little clips off. Make sure I got in there. I'm not going to worry about this either. This wasn't coming off all that easy, so that's actually fine. If I sand it down and prime it, then it'll be fine. And it's not going to be visible anyway because that grill is there. So I'm going to finish up this now and get on to that. So looks like I need to do some sanding and filler there, I think. And also need to probably get under here a little bit better. Probably just sand that down. Rear bumper. Got a nice scratch to fix. I think I did that when I accidentally grabbed the metal scraper. Nice. Good job, Jason. Much better. Got a little bit more to sand off, but I'll just sand that down. I'm not going to worry about under here. And I mean, I scrubbed this up pretty good, so if it's not coming off, I don't think it's going to be a problem. This thing's pretty decent. I possibly could have gotten by without having to slip it all up, but there were a couple little spots that were lifted already, so I have to just kind of keep working it. So I neglected to show this, but I did go over my bumpers and the trim with this orbital 320 grit, and then I would also went over it, hand sanded it with 320 as well. Some of the hard areas to get the paint off, mostly on that little valence piece, I used this with 240, and I even a couple times I grabbed the 120 to dig into that because some of that paint was on really tight and it wasn't coming off with the aircraft remover that I was using. I think just the areas that weren't I should just notice these. I should touch these up, but it looks so nice I don't want to do the whole thing, so maybe I'll just mask those off. But yeah, areas like this, if you get the aircraft remover in, it bubbles up nice and you can work your way, but you get to a point with these areas where they're really nice and solid, it doesn't eat it off. So right now I have everything set up in here for painting. So yeah, this valence piece, this paint was really having a hard time coming off. I think I need to go back over it because this looks a little bit chewed up. I have to hit this again with my hand, by hand sanding it. Yeah, that was from using the heavier grit. But these came out really smooth and decent, and of course they're lower bumpers, so that's not as noticeable as that, which is above the bumper here. I'm going to do the bump strips first, so I taped this off so I can keep them raised up and and you know, get under and make sure I got all the way around easily enough. So I'm going to, I did go over it with some acetone, but I do have, well, prep, plastic leather prep. This is just another cleaner, and the plastic adhesion promoter I'll put on next, and then I'll do this primer and then the bumper coater. I don't know. Oh, no adhesion promoter required. I wonder if I should just go directly over the bumper coater. I'll read the instructions. I think I might just go directly to the bumper coater. But would it hurt if I put the adhesion promoter? It's not required, so I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to clean it, put the adhesion promoter on, and then spray this. So this stuff says to just spray on and wipe off in the one direction. So, and it takes quite a while for it to dry off, so even if you did it in sections. I think I have enough to do the whole thing. Not enough. It's not big enough where I can't do the whole thing, so just go in one direction. Okay, this is not easy to do. Hopefully you can see it. Oh no, I shouldn't be touching it again. But I think I've got enough acetone and this stuff on my hands. I don't think it's going to get in there. I'm not going to get any oils on it. All right. Next, the adhesion promoter. What does it say about that? It's clean. Well, 5 minutes flash time followed by one full wet coat. Allow to flash 15 minutes, but no longer than 30 before top coating. Okay, so spray it, give 5 minutes. Second coat is 15 minutes, and then top coat. All right, first coat's dry. Hi, how are you taking this? I just
Now I wait 15 minutes. Alright. Time's up. Let's put 3 coats in, 3 or more. About 5 to 10 minutes. Flash time. Let's make sure I don't. Getting in the middle of those is going to be tricky. I'm going to have to go like that to get in. That should be good enough to get into the middle there. Alright, 5 minutes. So on this one, I'm just going to try to get in the middle and then not do like another coat over the top. I'll just do the sides. So I'm kind of missing the mark sometimes on this.
Okay, 5 more minutes. Starting to look pretty good. And just keep going until I run out of paint. Maybe last coat? Let's find out. I go. Come on. I know. Oh, I gotta run there. God. Just getting harder to control at the end. Luckily, this is the back bumper. I ain't gotta worry about it. Stay off. Nope. Stay off. Yeah, a little bit more. I think what I'll do with the remaining is maybe just hit the top. I think that was perfect. Okay. This sits for 2 days. So that'll be all I guess I'm doing for bumpers. And I guess actually I can sand that one a little bit more and that's it. So I'm gonna actually leave this probably till the middle of the week, and in the meantime I'm going to go and work on more engine stuff, start putting the engine back together for the Reatta, get the air conditioner charged, alternator on, ignition back on, oil change, got my new oil sending unit today, so transmission filter change, flush. I think that looks decent enough. We'll see how it dries. Again, I'm not going to worry about that little run there. I did pretty good. See a little nub there that I didn't catch, but you know, honestly, I'm pretty happy with this finish. It's really good, actually. I'm not sure what the final finish will look like, if it'll be close to the side. I might have to do maybe a gloss clear coat. We'll see.
Here it's been a couple days and I went over the bumpers with the blue sandpaper. They say that's about 1,000 grit, and just went over it and made sure I got inside the little groove there. Went over it with a tack cloth, and then I did do a test because I don't trust that stuff's not gonna lift. And what I used was just from AutoZone, the high gloss acrylic lacquer. It was $10. And there's the bumper coater. I pretty much used the whole can for, I think, 3 or 4 coats for each one. Really light coats. Yeah, I could have done a little bit more work on this probably. You can see where there's some stripping of the under material. I think when it was peeling and some of it was exposed, and so that's probably why that's like that. But I'm not gonna notice because it looks a lot better than it did. And even the repair I did before, I painted it last year, a couple years ago, and that looked pretty crappy. All right, so I'm going to probably do 3 coats of the clear on these, let them sit overnight. I'm working on this thing because it needs to be repainted, and I have a silver paint that I'm going to use. So I went over it with 320, got in everywhere on the sides, just kind of got in all there. And the thing that's kind of annoying is that it's black behind here, behind the silver. So I don't really want to mask this all off. I think I'm just going to paint it all silver. Although I could easily just get some little thin tape and put it in there. I really don't want to make it all silver. I think I'm going to take the time to paint. I think I'm going to take the time to tape that up. Not so worried about down here, but I think there it would look better if it wasn't so obvious, because that'll be hidden. You won't really see this support. And then I have to fix these two. I got some JB Weld and I have those pieces, so that is next on the list. I also grabbed these off. I've got another set, so I'm going to do both sets. And these, I wonder if I can just sand them and polish them. So sitting here with my cat, trying to tape this up, I decided I'm gonna go ahead and tape up at least this part, probably get back behind there, maybe up there. Just wrapping these up with masking tape, but of course, Cam. What? Why you gotta be on my lap all the time? So, trying to do this while he's on my lap, but I decided I really wanted this to be black, so I got perfect thickness, 0.7 inch masking tape, fits in there perfectly, so wrapping each one of these up and get this masked off for tomorrow. Next day, after priming, 3 coats of primer. Going to now sand these down. I think I'm using 400 grit
I mean, they're not perfect. There's still a scratch there that I'm sure that'll show through. I don't know, that's a little bit of a scuff that could have been sanded a little bit smoother. This is one area I'm kind of worried about because I don't know if maybe the chemical stripper I used, or maybe I sanded it too rough. I don't know, but hoping that smooths out with enough coats of paint. Owen, are you helping me paint? You know when I paint, you can't stay there. Although I'm pretty sure you won't like the air compressor when it starts back up. Owen, can I use you as a tack cloth? Can I rub you along the finish to get all the dust off? Huh? Yeah. Owen, come back. Owen, why you leave me? All right, I've got everything sanded. I did the 600 grit, and then I did the gray scrubby, which is 600 to 800. It's probably closer to 800, and because I didn't have any 800, and then some of these areas are a little bit orange peely, so I actually took the 400 lightly on that. And yeah, you can see here there's still a little bit. This was a drip that had peeled off when I was sanding. I think it'll work out okay. This seems to have smoothed up pretty good, so a lot better than I thought. And then primed this. This is normally a flat black. I think while I'm spraying the white, I'm going to spray that white because why not? Might look cool. If I don't like it, I can always spray over it. Maybe I'll evaluate doing the side skirts. All done. I used up this whole can of Shopline JE1. This is the paint. They matched it for me, mixed it up, and I reduced it 4-to-1. I just happen to have this floating around. Doesn't really say what speed it is, but it says for all temps. So that worked out really good, and it's mid-temp. It's probably 70 degrees in here, maybe. And this was my gun. Probably, yeah, cheap old Harbor Freight purple. Worked really good. Didn't give me any issues. Paint flowed really good out of it. So it probably was a cheap gun. It was probably like a $30 gun. But this is the result. So I have 4 coats on the front stuff. This is like dry. So all I have to do is now cut and buff it. And I did do, again, here's that revalence. I hope that looks okay. We'll see. And this one too got 4 coats. This was the one I was really worried about because of the way that the surface was after I can't really see how that looks. Hopefully it looks good. But like particularly here, it was kind of chewed up a little bit. So that's gonna go really good. I wanted to make sure I got 4 coats on the front pieces. And then I actually was able to get a 4th coat on this one too. There was enough. So that little scratch barely shows. That little scuff barely shows. I love white. And this is all going to be covered by the bumper trim. So I put these on so that I didn't really paint over the little trim pieces. I don't know what kind of trouble that would cause. And of course I went over onto here so that it would be one piece and not like be as likely to flake. So I'm really happy about this. This is going to be cool. And those bumper trim pieces look really good. Let's go look at those one more time. So I have these sitting here, ready to be cut and buffed as well. I did do clear coat on this. I did a nice glossy clear coat, which I mentioned when I was doing it. That looks pretty good. And these I didn't do anything with because they seem pretty decent. We'll see how, if I clean them up and they kind of look mismatched for the rest of it, then I'll sand them and tape them off, and I'll get some flat black to do those as well. And those are just my 2 extra rear tail light assemblies. Well, I was working on these and I got bumpers attached. I have a couple nuts that I had to replace 2 of them. I don't know what happened to the one, and one broke off halfway through. So I was putting this together. I am not going to do anything to these. If this looks like it needs to be sanded and buffed, I will. But honestly, this looks so good. I'm not even gonna touch it. These things don't even need to be sanded and polished. I'm really happy with that. And that's gonna look really nice. So instead, back in here. So I lost one of these nuts, and they're a really odd extra coarse thread because these are plastic and it's neither 5/16 nor 8mm. So I couldn't find anything at the hardware store. So I used a 5/16 E-ring to put that washer in there and secure it a little bit better. And then 5/16 push nuts, but I hammered it and flattened it out, so then now it sticks really good. So now it's on there really good, so I'll just tighten that on there, and that should hold. It's not going to be perfect, but it's at least not going to be loose. So I don't know if there's torque specs for these, but I think it seems to work if you put it on loose and then start from the middle and work your way out. And if you tighten too much, you'll start to actually see these where they'll kind of pull in a little bit, so you don't want them to be too tight. So this is this strap here. It's where the 2 bolts go that attach the bumper to the vehicle, and it's got like this star head. This one's missing one, so I'm just gonna drill a bigger hole, put that in there, the washer, so it'll be the same size or length. So I have these 2 brackets, and when I was removing these, both of these snapped, and this one, only one of them snapped. These actually go for the rear bumper. They mount here, and they mount to the down there somewhere. We'll look at that closer when we get to it. Should have BB blastered them before I started wrenching on them, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. But I've got just sanded or so ground these down, which is really annoying. So I'm actually only going to ground this one down. This one's going to be 10mm. These are going to be 1/4 inch coarse. So that'll be really annoying for whoever gets this car next. If anyone ever gets this car next, then they have to take these off. So, yeah, time for spacers. So according to the screenshot I was able to get from my video before I pulled the bumper off, I could see that the driver's side had 5, and so that means passenger side must have 2. All right, so here we are, time to put the back bumper on. So if I recall, just need to put those 4 bolts, and then however that works up there, I can't recall. And then put the valance on. I almost forgot. I have to put these things on. So we got right hand and left hand. So I didn't do anything with these. I can always mask that off and spray it if I need to. Looks like I didn't get full coverage down there, but it's the bottom of the rear bumper. So yeah, I'll put that on, and then I'll put the back bumper on. That's in. That's in. Let's get a couple started so nothing slides out. I need to make sure I get the spacers in too, so. Next is this lower valance piece, and this is where those brackets that I had to modify connect to there. So again, this was originally flat black, and I even picked up some new screws. They're I just picked up some stainless sheet metal because I couldn't really find these, but these are kind of gross. I got the 5 on that side, and they go between the bracket and the bumper, and then the 2 on this side. So now I just have to move this up and tighten everything. I'll have to check to see. I bet you I can see where these line up on here. See if yeah, it looks like it's all the way up. Bumper's on. Lower valance is on. I do like that body color. Probably could have done a better job painting along the edges there, but oh well. It's still underneath the car, so that's fine. There's a little bit of a gap there that I couldn't get rid of. Boy, I tell you, those things down there, those little brackets, those things were really a bear to get in. Really need to be able to. This one just comes out, that's fine, but the other one you have to unscrew a nut and then pull this out. Makes it a little bit easier. That's nice. I like that. Today is going to be the reinstallation of the bumpers. This has been several. I'm going to start by putting that valance here, and not the headlights, and not the parking lights, because I have some new bulbs coming for those, and I'm going to try something with the front ones that I hope works. I have an idea. First, let's get these headlamps up. trying to get these in the little slot because that's where I attach that bolt. That's the one I was having a hard time getting out before because the lights are in here. So okay, so that's that. Oh, there we go. That one's in, and that one's in better. Ah, these look so nice. You know what? It's not a probably 100% perfect match. This is a little wider, but works for me. This whole car needs a reshoot anyway to get rid of that solvent pop, so I'll maybe get myself a much better gun someday and sand this all the way down and get it to look nice. I'm going to do everything loose because I want to make sure I have all the right nuts and bolts, and also I want to make sure when I put these parking lights in that I can get them in, because I don't want to find out too late that I made a mistake and I was supposed to have them in, and it's easier to get them in when this is off, blah blah blah. So I'll just leave everything loose. So that was one of these short ones and a nut. I think that's correct. Gotta hope it's correct. That's why I'm doing this loosely. Looks like it's this one. Okay, go do it on the other side. All right, here's the parking light assembly. Just painted that and cleaned that up. It was really uneven along here. So these just slide on in there. This is not 100% fully tightened. I have waiting on some of the side marker light things, and I did put a couple higher output LEDs in these. I'll show you those. Those are kind of cool because I want to be able to have a little bit more light, maybe with the fog lights, without having to open these. And I wanted to see how that looked. If it's good, maybe I'll do another one. I've just got two in. Park, put the hazards on. So we have
that, or we have that. I accidentally put them in the wrong ones. I don't know. It's a tough call. Yeah, these are I think like 300 lumens each, so I could actually put a third one in and then I wouldn't have to even worry about that. These are the lights that I've put in for the bright ones. I'm going to actually test that and see what it's like with 3 across. This is them with 3 across. I think I like that. I think that's my favorite. So with the lighting all set up, I've got all my bulbs in. Time to tighten that up. There are 3 screws. Got one here, one right there, and then one right in there. And they just screw into these. And that one, I actually don't know what that one's for. Almost looks like it's totally rusted and has never had anything screwed into it, so maybe nothing. This, I want to polish this up. I don't think I'm going to get much more out of it, but I can at least clean up this ridge here that I couldn't get to when I polished it by hand the first time. So if I can go along, clean that up, I will. So I'm going to go take this back out and polish that up. Alright, those 4 in. I'm going to do the same for the other side and then make sure everything's lined up. I don't think I have any other. I think it's just those 4 bolts. I don't know if I have anything else. And so when I come back, I'll have the bumper all tightened up on these 8 bolts. Bumper's on. It was just those 4 bolts. These are in pretty tight on those ends. Still see that ridge, but Whatever. I think that looks pretty sharp with those lights like that. Oh, that would actually be pretty cool if there was lighting under there. No, don't be that guy. It looks as though I'm done with the Reatta. Look at those bumpers and the trim. That's nice. And the back, if you recall, I painted that lower piece the same white instead of the flat black that it used to be. Painted these trim pieces as well. I didn't paint the bumpers there, or the little bumpers there, those things. I think it looks all right. It looks pretty good. I didn't even cut and buff it at all. I just left it. I also did polish up the fog light lenses, and I repainted the grill there and did not put the license plate thing back on. A couple of the tabs were broken, so right now I painted a zip tie and put it on there, and I'll fix that a little bit later, if ever. Took it for a drive. It's 90 degrees outside today, and it got nice and cool. Got 50 some degrees coming out of the vents. So finally have AC in this. Could really use some tinting though, but fortunately none of the tinters will touch it because they only use whatever the computer spits out, because nobody actually uses actual skill anymore apparently. They just let the computer tell them where to cut or whatever the template is, and then that's what they do. And here it is at night. I've got the 3 LEDs in the front, replacing the 3 amber on each side. And this is with the fogs, but I think I need to change these to like some really bright LEDs. That just looks odd. They need to be white. Cool though. And with the headlights up, that looks all right. So it's just the fog lights and those parking lights. Not really enough to see far. If I know where I'm going, it's not a problem. And people can see me, so that's not a problem. But they really could be a little bit more intense. It looks brighter in the video than in real life, so I'll maybe get some higher intensity fog lights. See if anybody tries to flash me and tell me that my lights aren't on. So I have parking lights and fog lights. Oh, I missed this car. I have the
new ignition, the AC Delco that I pulled out of the cars from the junkyard. That seems to have made a difference. It drives a little bit better. New alternator. I've got AC finally. With the replacement of that oil sending unit, my oil pressure stays really consistent at like about 48-50 psi. Before it used to jump between like 40 and 70. It would just be all over the place. I don't have cruise control yet, but that's actually pretty minor as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to get an actuator and replace that.